record this one to see what happened. So the season kicked off focusing heavily on the dynamic and romance between Kara Sorel, Supergirl, and Jimmy Olsen. To be completely honest, Kara character felt pretty, tedious and a little bit throughout the entire room. For me, was so exhausting to see it. Was something I don't know, annoying. For a season that only had 10 episodes, it's wild that they actually dare to put in filler episode in this season that their main focus is the romance, the looks. Well, the looks is something like super cute, super something like Sailor Moon anime. If you watch that kind of the anime show, because I don't have any reference to talking about a super cutest series to compare. It's something like that kind of series that it's only watched because it's pure romance, pure cutie, and all that. It's not the action scene that you know a lot of people is waiting for this kind of show. It's not action. Well, had super entertaining action, but I mean it's not. Or at the beginning, it doesn't feel like the main focus. But well, that happened in the first episode. That it feels something like Kara Sorel and Olsen, Jimmy Olsen. So I don't know what you think about this. Do you like that? Because I really hate it. I was thinking like, come on, man, what the hell? I don't know, but actually, I don't know why, but it don't because it's not the child. Whatever. Okay, I was worried. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Yeah. Okay, it's fine to me right now. So I think it's everything is alright. My my little princess. Sorry for that. So guys, on the plus side, the action and it's good. It's keep you entertained as I saying. But the romance, the whole shipping dynamic between the character is pleasing enough. You watch it, well, you watch it and thinking something like, hey, they kind of cute, but the fundamental issue is that it feels like a showrunner actually wanted to make a pure romantic comedy. It's like they were saying, oh wait, it is a Superman show, so we had to throw it in action and violence. But deep down, their real passion was telling a romance story. So that is the point. That it's Superman. You need action in this series, but it's something like the showrunner. But we want more about romance and curious and all that. And you say, what the hell is that? And there are this constant internal struggle between delivering a Superman action product and making teen romance or teenagers romance series. Because of that, the actions, while not necessarily bad, feel awkward and, shifting tone abruptly rather than flowing organically. And the worst part is the two filler episodes, when you only had 10 episodes and the core story isn't solid. So, well, it seemed solid enough. having the audacity to waste time on dating app subplot with scientific Tyrion, with Jimmy Olsen. Come on, man, Tyrion's in the problem. What the hell is going on with this? Transforming into an animal was a total kid in the teeth. Is what the hell with this one? I mean, Jimmy Olsen as Tyrion was absolutely insane in the bad aspect. Didn't I say something like, what the hell? Man, you had Superman without power and all that. What happened with this episode? Regarding the animation, it continued with the signature modern DC anime inspired aesthetic. And you know, it had the vibes found from day one. Some loved how cute and stylized the character design look, especially youngest audience, I think. While you know, other it feel way too Sailor Moon, overly childish for a Superman project. Still provide a nice visual and you know, a love for some dynamic flute fight choreography. So for me, this series has two point of view. The people that actually hate it because it looks so girl show, if you can say it. That's I don't know. And this time I don't know. But the point is it looked like man, it's actually for a girl. I don't know if it's a threat. And at the same time, that kind of animation, it worked for a fighting series with a lot of dynamic action scenes and all that. So it's 50-50, you know? Oh, let me check it out this night. Well, guys, sorry for that. It's a live stream. And, you know, we had a lot of stuff and a live stream happen, especially when you are a small channel. So I hope your passion and try to enjoy this review for the whole aspect in the Superman show. So I was talking about the animation style and all that. So now we need to talk about John Kent and Lara Lane Kent and look at this guy. This is the problem. This little girl is so noisy. So noisy. Say hello. Just a little bit time for Superman show. Do you like it, Superman series? I know you don't like the Superman series. She doesn't like the video game, the series guy. So now a little bit of positive stuff about this show. We finally get Jonathan Kent introduced into animated media. And here we need to talk about the comic because I want to show you the first time that we saw this character. Let me show you guys. Let me see. Here. Jorge Jimenez. Vertical is here. Images. So, guys, the first time that actually we watch Jonathan Kent in comics was in Superman short. It's that that I think that is an incredible comics. But let me tell you something. Is we had the first time in this comic Super Son that actually is super recommended comedy storyline if you want to read it, enjoy it. For the other hand, we had let me see the movie called Superman Super Son 2 that is a little bit interpretation about those story, and I didn't see it yet. Perhaps I had my review about this one because we had more participation about Jonathan Kent. But what happened? What happened with this character when he grow up? He has uh, his own comic book series called Superman, and it's supposed to be the replace of Superman father, or in this case, Clark Kent. That is the point of this character. But, and we have to admit that in that aspect, Superman is, you know, it's not in the planet in that moment. So Jonathan replaced him as the new Superman, and the people is was saying something like, "No, my Superman is Clark Kent." It's the same stuff always when you try to replace with a new generation and all that. But the point wasn't in that aspect. The point, guys, was this aspect, and that is the real true about the character. Let me here put it for the people in the short. So, guys, the problem was that Jonathan was bisexual, but no, it's the point of that he is a bisexual person. That is not the problem. The problem is replace Superman with a bisexual Superman. It was something super real, and the people really doesn't connect with that concept. Something like why replace Superman Lois Lane with this Superman? It's the same Superman, but only bisexual is something super strange. That happened. So after a few comics and another, sagas and a little bit actually, it's not the best right for this comic in this character. Only I think it's 2 or 3 saga, and this is it. The end of Jonathan Kane in the multiverse of this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know right now that what is the lore of this character. I think the last stuff that I I knew about this character was that he traveled to the Injustice universe and fight with the evil Superman and hand to hand and something like that. And zero clue after that. So I don't know what happened with Jonathan, but we have Jonathan Kent in my adventure with Superman. So let me in the comments what do you think about this I don't know if the concept is a cameo or mm, or the participation. So in this show, Jonathan traveled back from a dystopian future, and he's accompanied by his sister, Lara Lane 10. So I want to put here Lara for everyone can see Lara right now. Oh, and the same, sorry. So it's here. Lara. Oh, and I delete the image, sorry. Is here. Look at this. Lara Lane. So Lara is a character adapted from alternative universe concept, like the injustice continuity that I said before, rather main canon lore. Even though she isn't a mainline, the mainline canon, watching Cloud and Lois interact with their future children and deal with the time travel family dynamic was generally fun and interesting to watch. At the beginning, I remember that he traveled because he wanted to stop Henshaw, and after that, he returned with his sister because Lex Luthor was the real villain of the season. But was the real villain actually? The answer is no. And that is something super real and not a bad aspect. But this is for the final video and the final part of the video. Right now, we need to talking about handhation and the power in scaling mass because the powers scale in this series is super, in my opinion, of course, super strange and super stupid. We're gonna put this one here. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, I know that we had a lot of noise and all that, but you like the review and all my analysis, please share and subscribe for this video. Get to more people. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your comments, your ideas. I love you guys. And attention. What? Let's talk about one of the major mistakes that started with the villains. Because the series leans so heavily into teen romance. The villains are handled terrible and make zero sense. First up, Henshaw in the comic. Henshaw originally started as a tribute for Marvel Fantastic Four. He's an astronaut whose crew is exposed to a cosmic radiation, but unlike the Fantastic Four, Henshaw's physical body is completely destroyed. Because of their radiation, he becomes a technopath, capable of projecting his consciousness into technology. In a classic DC lore, Henshaw transfers his consciousness into Superman Kryptonian ship and I think it's a Kryptonian ship and Matrix allows Clark's genetic template to build a half Cyborg and half Kryptonian body. That is exactly the reason why Cyber Superman can match with Superman insane strength, speed, and durability. So the point is that he copied in the space because he destroyed his body for this intergalactic explosion. the only power that she gets for that explosion is the telepath. Travel around the galaxy to find Krypton. In Krypton, or the rest of Krypton, apparently he found something like the spaceship or rest of the technology of the Kryptonian and a little bit of the DNA of Superman. So, if you read the comic, Henshaw is something like that, but the female is okay. Its interpretation is not the point, no? It's not bad in that aspect. So, let me show you here, guys. So, it's an interpretation, a little bit, fancy and cute interpretation of the character because the original character is more rose and a little bit badass style character. But what is the point? Because he found Kryptonian technology and DNA of Superman, so we have this combination. Of course, the Superman style, his hair, a little bit of his strength, and resistance, and all that, and the technology that part of Cyborg style because of that. But in the show, however, Lex Luthor just built him using a standard text and a scrap metal. The guy just his technology. Out of nowhere, Henshaw stopped blasting energy beams and completely wiped the floor with Superman, Supergirl, and future Jonathan Kent all at once. So, how on earth it bases Cyborg created by let overpowered enough to beat, and well, actually to beat up multiple Kryptonian without even needing kryptonite? Explain me that idea because I really don't understand what happened in that aspect. Later on, they reveal he had kryptonite in his shape and his chest to drain Superman power. But during the actual fight, he was already dominating them purely on brute force. Unless you head canon that let King using, less of a tech from Brainiac from season 2, the show never explained it. It made no sense and completely break the power of scaling. So, I was thinking something like, okay, he has kryptonite in his chest, and it's something like Metallo. Metallo is that kind of character that he opened his chest, attacked Superman, and this is it for Superman. It's more sense that, only a cyborg, because at the end that is the point, only a cyborg built from Lex Luthor can defeat Superman, Kara Zor-El, Jonathan Kent at the same time. And the kryptonite is only to kill them because I don't know why, because actually they ask. Actually, they love the fight. So, was a real what the hell it happened here? For me, it no sense and was something like terrible, man, terrible, because it no sense. And actually, they didn't explain something like that. That okay, the technology or the Kryptonian technology that I stole from the battle in Kansas and all that. I don't remember well the season 2 of my adventure with Superman, but you understand the idea. I steal all this technology. I build my own Superman cyborg and whatever. And actually, at the beginning of the fight with the kryptonite, start open his chest and start the fight in that way. But now, only at the beginning of the fight, he dominated all the fight with these 3 super Kryptonian battles. So, not stand at all, in my opinion. Let me in the comments if you agree with me because it now has facts. We need to talk about the Lex Luthor Chrome because one, well, Henshaw was the first villain, but we need to talk about the second villain in the series. Jonathan came at the beginning, trouble in time, because the problem of Henshaw. When he returned to his hotline, he discovered that the real issues now is like Luthor. And with this change in the continuity of the events, now he has a sister called Lara. I think it's Lara? Yes. After that, after the really huge war in the future and all that, he returned with Lara to stop Lex Luthor in past. So guys, after Superman lost his power to the Kryptonite, Jonathan and Lara return from the future to stop Lex Luthor. When they confront Luthor, we find out he had been created an unfinished Superman clone. In his panic, left activate the clone because actually Lara and Jonathan attacked him, and this creature initially behaved like a mindless brute, heavily channeling Doomsday vibe. And actually, they mentioned that name. He is a Doomsday, a destruction, the death of Superman's adaptation. So, during the fight, the clone gets pulled into the time stream, but then it returns. They sure reveal that entity is supposed to be the Eradicator. So, I want to show something, guys, to be clear. Let me see. Yeah, the Eradicator is something like that in the comics. So, guys, the Eradicator is something like that in the comic. And I want to be honest with you because I didn't read, a comic with the Eradicator before. I'm not a poser. I'm going to lie and say, oh, this character is pure evil. I don't have enough uh, lore to understand all the concept of the character. I only know the roots of the character, a little bit of the his power, and you know a few stuff. But this is the concept of the comic. What happened with the series? Man, this is super insane. Let me show you. Give me a second. Okay, this is yes. So this here. Okay, I'm going to move this one here. This a little bit. And here is up. Pretty easy. Now, let me show you here what is going on. Okay, perfect. So, guys, I want to show the eradicator in this series. No, this is not the eradicator. It's not this monster. The eradicator is this Loki style. Look at this. Let me show you. The eradicator. Where is he? I don't have Superman. It's this guy. Look. This guy. This is the eradicator in the series. Look the difference. What the hell? Come on, man. Lucky in the house, man. What the hell? So, a little bit of content of this show, you know? Support. I'm exhausted, guys. Do you see? So, about hour to be a live stream in my cave. So, in this economy, especially during the reign of Superman and this era, the Eradicator is an ancient Kryptonian artificial intelligence and defense built to preserve the purity of Kryptonia. Well, actually, the Kryptonian culture at all costs. They try to preserve it and whatever. It eventually formed a humanoid energy body with the iconic golden bezel, and this is this epic aspect that I mentioned before. That is the content of the character. So, what happened in my adventure with Superman? The unfinished monster Ron travels through the temporal vortex and comes back looking like a lucky, handsome, emo anime pretty boy. Why, this strange and grotesque monster turn into that? It is what the hell? How is it possible that actually did happen? Into the middle of the final battle, he randomly morphs again into this gothic Dracula looking old man. I want to show because if this is not the ultimate eradicator, this guy, look at this. This is the ultimate version of the eradicator. So why at the beginning of the episode we had this pretty boy Loki style? Well, it's actually a Loki emo style, and now it's a vampire lord of Pastor Bunny again. I mean, what the hell it happens? Can you explain me this transformation and the whole episode at the same time? And the full, oh well, in the middle of the battle? Why? Actually, I don't know why. All the character don't wonder what happened. I mean, why this kind of change? It's super strange. It's super strange, guys. The only way that to make sense to me in my theory, because he traveled through the time and he's tapping into different evolved interaction of himself across the timeline. But the show doesn't bother to explain it all that at all. So if this eradicator said something like, oh, it will say something like, okay, now I, control the time and I can travel across all my evolved body across the time. My youngest version, my oldest version, the most powerful, you know, version to destroy Superman. That is the point. But they didn't. And the character doesn't say something like that. The only thing that he said was, nothing. I want to destroy Superman and all that. You say, what the hell? And what the hell this shame? And actually, that's something that I thought after the episode. Because while I was watching the episode, I never understand what happened. And I analyze that because at the end, I need to this review. But without that, I never understand this kind of situation or try to understand why this character changed during the whole battle. So let me in the comment, guy, what the hell it happened? Because this is the most strangest stuff in the series. So, guys, to give the credit, the writer understand Clark Kent core hot. It is fundamentally kind, gentle, and always seek painful resolution. When he goes to recover his power in the fortress of solitude, that was the presentation of the solitude in the series, and dealing with Bizarro, that actually was the first adventure in the show. And they understand the character because the whole crew, Lane, Kara, Jimmy, tried to, investigate this old lab. And Clark was something like, hey man, we need to celebrate. I don't know if it was Halloween or something like that, or only eat something or wherever. So they understand that the point of Clark is not investigate the crime scene and all that. It just be chill, relaxed, doing all the stuff. Actually, so it's like an old man in a youngest body. And they meet actually they met this kind of another and sorry, in another, it's again at this kind of cutest Bizarro in the show, the cutest Bizarro in the show, because all these characters looks handsome no matter the cost. So in this fortress of solitude, he refused to destroy his opponent, showing true compassion that show a purity is great to see. However, this is very fine line between portraying the character and overhearted and making him look weak or pathetic. At times, he's overly docile and passive. The season wraps up Clara and Lois a romantic arc. But I want to show guys, and again, the comic version, and that is the point of rich comics. And this kind of analyze. And look at this. This was the version of Gladiator Superman in the show. What is it? Oh, this. Because he needs to, how can I say it? Well, the Ted will destroy his enemy, and he that is the way that he back of his superpowers. But this is the version, and I think it's Alex Ross. I don't know. I don't remember well. Let me check it out. Philip Kenny, Joseph, Danny Sanford. I no, here Riccardo Federici, the artist of this comic. This is the version of Gladiator Superman. This is the real Gladiator Superman. Look at this. What the hell, guys? I need to explain this guy. I need to explain this. This outfit actually is super cool. Look the difference. Can you explain me that? Can you explain me the difference between these two images? Well, that is the real problem with my adventure with Superman animation, for my opinion. But again, there is a lot of people that enjoy and, you know, like this kind of animation. But no comment. No comment, guys. With this work and feminist stuff and whatever, I don't know. So Clark and Lois romantics arc. Throughout the episode, Lois was terrified of commitment and, about marriage, but after meeting their future kid and realizing the beautiful family and future they could be together, she finally opened her heart and proposed to Clark. And of course, we had the context to Lloyd propose to Clark. But if you think about it, this kind of Clark that actually looks like, and I said before, docile and passive, it sounds like you are so, I don't know, useless that a girl need to propose to you. You don't have to bold to do that. And again, I know the content that what Lois never want to do that. I understand perfectly that. But man, try to do something, you know, a real handsome, a real, the real man to do. Propose to the woman you love. But no, this show, it doesn't feel like that kind of show. My adventure with my boys. My adventure with Superman season 3 has entertaining action, a cute aesthetic, and junior hot. If you want to talk about this kind of animation, well, it's aesthetic and ah, mm. But the completely way filler episode. The no sensual power level with Henshaw and the bizarre execution of the Eradicator, the narrative currency took a massive hit. And actually, I don't know why they had a Dragon Ball Z power key, something like transformation. I embed my own theory here too, that they accelerate the DNA or the kryptonite DNA, and that is why they have this kind of electric power and all these VFX power, accelerate the Kryptonian powers. But they did, and they never explained that kind of Dragon Ball Z power. So it's stupid, but I try to, form something that made sense to the series. But it's only in my imagination. No, it's not a real law of my adventure with Superman. So if they get renew a fourth season, they really need to write in and decide whether they want to tell and focus on a superhero story, and that's it. So my final score is a 6.5 to 10. Let me know in the comment what do you think of this season. Do you like the version of the Eradicator and Henshaw? Or do you find it as frustrating as I did? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. So guys,